Good evening or good afternoon. I'm Stephen Pei. I am engineer professor at the University of Houston and the founding chair of the United Chinese American. Welcome to the Zoom town hall meeting with Bawi Cung and his hero, Zach Owen, who saved his family. Before I invite them to speak, let me first introduce President Gan of ACP Foundation in Dallas. We thank ACP Foundation for assuming the fiscal agent responsibilities of this fundraiser. President Gan will also be the moderator of the second half of the meeting. He will introduce members of the ACP team later and share the details of the fundraiser, including the GoFundMe and the donations made directed to ACP. The other key person is Reagan of Midland, Texas. He and Zach Owen are the only two panelists who have met the Chung family. Reagan will share what he and his wife did for the family, including the $20,000 that they raised for them back in March. Reagan will also introduce Bawi later, the father of the Chung family. Asian Pacific Islander American Public Affairs, APAPA, was a major supporter of the Lily and Vincent Chin Advocacy Award and the webinar on June 22nd. APAPA Texas Austin chapter rep president CJ Zhao has also done a lot in promoting the GoFundMe. He will share with you her thoughts later and introduce the APAPA National President Victoria Lee, who is also from Austin. But last but not least are Cecil Fang and FC Chen from Houston. FC is an attorney. I know you as an attorney, you will not want to comment on any legal issues in public. So would you please say a few words as the president of OCA Greater Houston?
Sure, thank you, Dr. Pai. I'm just really glad that our community had answered a call and came forward to ensure that a hero to the community is not forgotten. I'm just glad that thousands and thousands of folks, when they heard about the news to the event, to the fundraising event, they came forward and tried to make a difference to thank, first of all, Zach for the selfless service that he's done for the Asian community, and secondly, to do something for Bawi. And hopefully there's something that we can do to mitigate the unbelievable act of ignorance that's being inflicted upon your family. And I also want to thank Reagan. Reagan is a true hero in his own right as well for coming forward to help so many people. And Zach, when you and Zach and Bawi, when you have opportunities, please continue to pat him on the back many, many more times to come. All of you are heroes in my mind's eye. Everybody have come forward to do something within our power to make a difference, however small it be, but together within our community, I think we have done that. We have answered a call to slowly and gradually make this world a better place for all of us. With that, thank you.
Thank you, FC. Next one, Cecil Fang was a past president of OCA Greater Houston, and he was also the advocacy committee chair of the Houston Asian American to Salute Frontline Heroes. AASFH presented the Lily and Vincent Chin Advocacy Award to Zach and the Border Patrol agent, Bernice Ramirez, in Houston last June. Cecil, would you please share with us what you did about the award ceremony and the webinar back in June? Cecil?
Sure. Back in this past summer, the Asian American community in Houston, put together a fundraising effort this summer called Asian American Salute Frontline Heroes. And we want to do something to help the greater Houston community to fight the pandemic. But we also saw many Asian American restaurants struggling during this difficult period. So we raised over $100,000 at that time and use the money to purchase meals from Asian restaurants and to feed our frontline heroes, including doctors, nurses, policemen, firefighters, first responders, etc. So this is a way for the Asian American community in Houston to give back to the broader community in this difficult period, but also we want to fight this narrative that somehow Chinese Americans or Asian Americans are responsible for the virus being here, just because the first case of the virus was in China. Now, there has been well over 2,000 anti-Asian incidents in the US since the start of the pandemic. So we undertook a number of efforts to help fight this anti-Asian bias, which included, highlighting a number of stories of frontline heroes who were Asian Americans in the Houston Chronicle. And we also pulled together over 50 civil rights organizations in the Houston area to jointly sponsor an ad with a tagline that there is no room for hate. We're all in this together, also in the Houston Chronicle. And as Stephen mentioned, as part of this effort, we also brought Zach Owen and Bernice Ramirez to Houston in June for a recognition ceremony at the Chinese Community Center to honor them for their heroic and selfless acts in Midland. To bring more awareness to this subject, we also hosted a virtual webinar that night called From Vincent Chin to George Floyd, to discuss ways to combat this anti-Asian sentiment and systemic racism in the United States. And both Zach and Bernice, and as well as Helen Zia, a well-known Asian American author, community activist, along with community activists from other communities, also joined as part of the panel. So that was a good start, I think, of our overall effort, to fight the racism and systemic bias that we're seeing. So I'm glad that we are having this follow-up effort tonight to see how we can further help one of our frontline heroes, Zach Owen, for all that he has done for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Cecil. Let me introduce our first honorable guest, Haipei Xue from Washington, D.C. Haipei is the president of United Chinese Americans. Prior to founding UCA, Haipei was best known for his efforts back in 2012 with Congresswoman Judy Chu to have the Congress pass the resolution of regret for the Chinese Exclusion Act. Last June, Haipei came all the way to Houston to present the Lily and Vincent Chin Advocacy Award and a check to Zach Owen. And the other recipient was the Border Patrol agent Bernice Ramirez that Cecil mentioned earlier. He also presented a check to the Cung family. Haipei was also the one arranged the congressional hearing for Zach to testify at the Tricaucus Congressional Forum. Haipei, thank you for what you have done.
Thanks so much, Professor Pei. Really, it is because of your unwavering, tireless, exhausting, unexhaustible faith and goodness in trying to help Zach and others that this has pulled off. I really want to thank you so very much for what has happened at this point. I'm very happy for our heroes, both Reagan and Zach, which the two of them I had a great honor to meet in person during the earlier months in Houston. This thing is also partly because of our great community support from Houston Chinese and Asian American communities. You guys and Cecil and others done a wonderful job that's doing this together. and also is a Chinese community in Dallas, has stepped out of their way to help at this time. This is amazing. This is you guys give a big Texas-sized heart to our community and to Zach. And again, thanks Regan for that. I won't be wasting too much of your time, just enough to say that Zach and Regan, what you have done had really caused a national attention. We have so many reports about anti-Asian discriminatory things. Some are very serious, some are just very bad remarks. But that has caused FBI earlier this year to send an alert to the field office and to field officers to alert them of this situation, which is also unprecedented. And Congresswoman Judy Chu said after that hearing that you attended with Tri-Caucus about the anti-racism and during the pandemic, that we have heard so much, we have read so much about the hate thing, especially anti-Asian hate during the pandemic, but we have never seen a real hero until Zach and until Regan. Two of you have shown up at such a time, and you did an unbelievable thing. And I think our whole country and our whole community will never, ever forget. Thank you.
Thank you, Haipei, to join us from Washington, D.C. And next, may I ask CJ to say a few words representing APAPA, Texas Austin chapter, and also introduce Victoria after you speak.
Okay, sure. Hi, thank you, Professor Pei. And my name is CJ Zhao. I'm president of APAPA Austin chapter. So I read about Zach's story when the tragic incident actually happened in the spring. But honestly, I didn't pay close attention because we were very busy doing COVID relief effort. But by October, November, when Professor Bay reached out saying that he wanted to do a fundraising, I was a little bit surprised because things have passed more than half a year. But Professor Bay is somebody I would never say no to because he has done so much for the community and I truly respect him. So if he thinks something is worthy of doing, I would, there's no saying no from my side, from my perspective. So I said, of course, sure. But then Regan actually sent an amazing article during Thanksgiving time about the fact he visited Zach and how much struggle Zach is going through. So that's when I really kind of, got into the thinking that I basically asking myself the question, okay, we all trying to help the community. We all volunteer our time, our money, but can we really do what Zach did? Basically, risk your own safety to save some random strangers you never met. Put your own life at risk and for strangers. Can we really do that? And I don't know the answer to that question, honestly, but to me, that's what heroism is about. And especially when the victims are the people in our community, while Zach is not in our community, to me, that it adds another layer of significance in this environment. Everybody else already talked about the fact that as Chinese Americans, we are under, some kind of attack from left to right? And having Zach step in and for the Asian community, it just adds another layer of significance. But even without that, to have just being a regular American, to have more of Zach kind of people in our community would make us feel safer just in general. And that's what we want. That's what we feel like what American is about. So to have learned that Zach himself is struggling both physically, mentally and financially, it just sounds very unfair that we have to do something to help him because that's not how we should, let a heroism pass away without stepping in. He stepped in for us. We should be there for him as well. So that's kind of my perspective. So, and I honestly, I didn't do a lot. I think Professor Pei is doing the heavy lifting of everything. So thank you. And thank you, Zach. Thank you, Regan. I thank everybody. So I'm going to actually introduce Victoria, who is the national president for APAPA. And she happens to be, she's one of the kind of our mentors because she happens to be also in Austin. So she's the one who pulled us into APAPA and showed us a lot of kind of ways of how to serve the community. So Victoria, are you online?
Yes, thank you. CJ has done so much. CJ even really, I just feel so moved every time I see CJ's pictures or story on the Facebook. And I encourage everyone to look at her Facebook. She has done so much for our community. And I'm the national president of PAPA, and I was asked to say a few words and give a whole picture of the crime, the hate crimes in the country. And many API organizations started to track hate crimes against Asian Americans since President Trump started insisting to call COVID-19 Chinese virus, and incidents increasing. The anti-Asian hate crime in New York jumped from 1 last year to 19 as far as May this year. And Congressman woman Meng said that from March to May, there were 2,600 reports of incident over 47 states. So it's very widespread. It's not concentrated in any place. It's happening everywhere. Fox 11, Los Angeles reported that 1 in 4 young Asian Americans experience anti-Asian hate amid the COVID-19. Congresswoman Judy Chu estimated about 100 cases per day. In total, we have at least 10,000 incidents reported. And one thing that is noteworthy is that the tracker have collected many incidents of violence and harassment within the first weeks of the pandemic. As Kulkarni, executive director of API Planning and Policy Council said, the racism actually moves much more quickly than the disease. Then Mr. Zach, Owen, and Mr. Reagan happened. With real courage and real strength, he puts himself at risk for total strangers. He showed us how all the basic humanity connects us all. He showed us with courage that we can cultivate the better part of humanity to get the seed of racism out. And thank you, Ms. Owen, our hero, for inspiring us. And thank you.
Thank you, Victoria and CJ. Let me add, the article CJ mentioned was actually written by Reagan. He sent it to me just before Christmas, just before Thanksgiving. And I remember after Thanksgiving on Friday, I forwarded that article to many of my friends, and I told them that was the most touching gift I received on that Thanksgiving, and got so many positive response, and CJ was one of them. And we sent CJ how much effort she put in this GoFundMe effort. We appreciate that very much. And another special guest we got today, I think that was a surprise to many of the organizing committee members as well, is Dr. Keith Chen from Los Angeles. He's a retired social science professor and also now a photojournalist. Asian American Journalists Association in LA has given Dr. Chen the ceremony to make a documentary on the rise of hate crime against Asian American. So he wants to interview Zach and Bawi. He's also writing a book in this area. So Dr. Chen, would you please say a few words about your project and let us know about what you have in mind?
Well, the Stop API Hate Reporting Center has collected, as of August of this year, 2,600 reports of hate incidents and hate crimes against our people. Early in the pandemic, having been Human Relations Commissioner here in Los Angeles, I was concerned about the rise of hate crimes, and I started collecting data. Then I got the grant money to make the documentary. I'm also writing a scholarly book. The book will last for generations in university libraries. It will be the historic record of this time. I'm taking the 2,600 cases and other cases that I find. I'm going out and I'm interviewing the victims. I'm interviewing officials and experts, and making the documentary and the book. So I'm looking for more people to interview who have had the unfortunate experience of having hate incidents and hate crimes against them. You can reach me on Facebook, Cliff Cheng Photojournalist.
Thank you, Dr. Chen. I think Dr. Chen has not only interviewed a lot of victims, I think if I remember correctly, you also interviewed the DA who handled the Midland case. Is that correct? So
yes,
I've interviewed Laura.
Yes, I have interviewed the DA who was prosecuting the case that we're talking about.
Yeah, I think Reagan is in close contact with her, and Reagan has been arranging the connection with the DA's office and all the things they can offer to help Zach and also the Cung family. So we thank both of you for reaching out to the DA office. And I think next, let me invite Reagan to tell his personal experience, what he did since March. Back in that time, Reagan didn't know any one of us, including Zach and Bawi. And now I think maybe that Bawi can tell you later. Bawi's children is calling Reagan the only American friend they have. So Reagan?
Yes, I have to really give a lot of credit to my wife for getting me into this. Her colleagues worked with a boy's son at his elementary school, and they were really touched and hurt that one of their students was hurt. And I'm pretty active in the community, and they asked me if I would help start a GoFundMe because due to contractual rules, they're not allowed to do that. And so, can you hear me?
Yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Sorry. And after, and then I was invited to a meeting at City Council where Mayor Payton asked us to help the Chin community because this attack was an attack based on ethnicity. And so once my wife and her colleagues asked me to do it, I had no choice but to act. And so we started a GoFundMe, raised about $20,000, and I presented that to Boy and his family, and just trying to get Boy back on his feet. And also have to thank the city and Mayor Payton for helping me find a job placement with the city. And so he's right now working for the sanitation department. Hopefully in a year, he'll have enough experience so he can get into the oil field industry and have a much better paying job.
So would you please introduce Bawi to the audience? I think you know him the best.
Sure. So Bawi, he's me and boys share a strong faith. His faith is he's very devout in his beliefs, and we share the same belief system. He's a good Christian man, and his children are wonderful kids, and boy's a hard worker. He worked at Walmart for 5 years, and I used to work at Walmart as well. And he's once he has a plan, I know he'll do it. Once he quit Walmart, he went to get his driver's certification at Midland College, and he got it. And he's a good guy, and he's a hard worker.
Thank you, Reagan and Bawi. So next, I would like to share with you a couple car-related stories as my introduction to our hero, Zach Owen. Even though Reagan and Zach both live in Midland, I did not realize that they never met each other until 2 months ago, when I told Reagan that the problem Zach had with his car, and learned that Zach did not return phone calls from Reagan and Bawi. So I asked Zach, why you do not return their phone calls? Here is the conversation between two of them. Zach said, "Oh, I don't want to bother them with my personal problems." And Reagan responded, "Your problem is our problem." Then they met in person for the first time in early November. Reagan and his father helped Zach to fix his car at his grandma's driveway. And that was story triggered Reagan to write the article that CJ referred to earlier. And that really touched many people's heart. And after Zach's car was totaled, when the deer ran into his car a couple weeks ago, he asked me whether he could advance the money from the GoFundMe to buy a car. I told him, sure. While I have the wiring set up to transfer the money to his bank account, Zach wanted to confirm the money would be really from GoFundMe. I told him, don't worry about it. When you get the money from GoFundMe, you can pay me back. Then Zach turned me down right away. He said, I cannot take your money. That's the kind of person Zach is. So let's welcome Zach. Zach, how are you? Can you unmute yourself?
Hello. Hello, everybody. I'm doing fine this evening. How are y'all?
You want to say a few words to the participants?
Hello, I'm Zach, and I just want to say thank you for everything everybody has done. It was really showed, makes my heart feel better and appreciated knowing people care and want to help, and it really meant a lot. It lifted my spirits. I was kind of down about the whole situation with the way Sam's was doing everything, but I feel a lot better about the situation, and I don't know how to show my gratitude towards everybody, but to say thank you very much, and thank you.
Well, Zach, you really touched many people's heart. I would never imagine before we started GoFundMe that we have 2,700 people donated.
Yes.
And 2,400 of them donated in the first 5 days.
That was crazy.
So that was really, that touched. That tells you how many people's heart you touch. So thank you for that.
Well, they healed mine with that. Like it was crazy. Blew my mind.
Yeah. So Zach, thank you. I think we'll get back to you later. At this point, let me turn the mic over to President Gan of ACP, who will moderate the rest of the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Stephen Pei. And also thank you everyone to join us tonight. Stephen Pei told us about Zach's story in November. At that time, all the ACP team is working on one of our biggest events in 2020. It's our annual event, but we still start working on prepare for this fundraising, like set up our bank account and all other financial setup in PayPal and GoFundMe. Make sure all people's donation will be properly handled. And our team member like Glenn Fan, and is working on our technical part to make sure the campaign working smoothly. And our trader, Lee, she is a very nice lady and is working on all donation transactions from different resources. And our legal consultant, Digger Chen, helped us to answer many questions also out from the communities. So far, I think we got over 2,700 donation transactions, and most donors are Chinese people. And thank all of you so much for your kindness donations. And we reached the 100,000 goal in a short time. And currently the fundraising is still going on. And because there are some financial issues, so we will close this even we reach the goal, but we cannot stop here, and we will close this fundraising campaign next month to make sure all the financial transactions can be done. So far, we still have some pending transactions, but and you will get this more detailed information from our treasurer, Lin. She will give you a financial report lately. And we also taught Zach's story to our Chinese communities, especially the FW area. It's really touching our heart. And we hope every American can like Zach with brave heart and hate in the USA. Like we always say, there are pledge allegiance to our national flag and the public for which it stands, one nation, invisible, with liberty and justice for all. So this allegiance is also taught us all people in this country are equally, without regard to your race, color, religion, sex, or gender, and also nation origin, which all will not be discriminated against. So I want to borrow this opportunity to introduce the ACP Foundation. We're the non-benefit organization founded in 1993. We become the largest and most influent non-benefit American Chinese professional organizations in the DFW area, with more than 1,400 lifetime members. With 27 years of development, our mission is to share, participate, commit, and grow. We also build a series of strategy on science and technologies, educations, innovations, and their investment to serve our local communities with better quality life. So this time, the Zach story, when we talk to in our communities, we got a very strong response. So we hope more and more people can like Zach. And also at the same time, we heard about Reagan story. He helped Zach Owen and also Bawi Chung's family. It's a really touch our heart. So thank you so much. And we hope this story can be the legend of our American and also in this country. This is very important for you, all of us. So I want to also give the time to Ling. Ling Li is our trader. She will bring the more detailed numbers to everybody and how about our fundraising looks like. Ling is here. Give to you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. it's really so impressive to have Zach to, so brave to help the people, even though he didn't know. And it's also very impressive to get so much, raise so much money in a short time. So this is the report until yesterday. So by yesterday, and we collect the money from GoFundMe. Most of the money is from GoFundMe, and we also got some from Zilla Pay, and we got a check. So from GoFundMe, the gross is more than 105K, and this is available fund. And we have pending fund. It's over 13,000. So, and GoFundMe charges 2.9% and plus 30 cents for each transaction. So for the available fund, you charge 36.99.89, and the pending fund charge 455.10. So we got the net money is 101,906.11 cents, and we still have pending fund more than 10K. So plus the Zilla Pay and the check, total we have available fund is $103,186.11, and we have pending fund still in the GoFundMe. That's 13K 18.90. Yeah. So for this amount of money, so we're going to send to Zach and the Kwong family. So according to the initial GoFundMe plan, so for the initial 100K, we're going to square 80K to Zach and 20K to Kwong family. So we're going to send it out in the next 2 days. And for the rest of the $3,000 and also the pending fund and also the ongoing raised fund. So once we close the fundraise and everything settled, we're going to split the rest of the fund to Zach and the Kwong family. And together, and so also we have we're going to wire this money to them. So each transaction is $25 each. We do a test wire, and for the initial 100K wire, and the last one will be the rest. So total will be 150 transaction fees. So we're going to give the final number maybe next month when all the funds settled. So I don't know, is any question for this report?
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you for your good job. And I think we will create a 2 monthly report. So today is 1 monthly report for our fundraising since December 7th. So after December 7th, we quickly reach our goal and 100,000K, and still have some pending fund this month. So before the next month, when we close that, we will have another financial report to tell everybody, shows where the money comes from and where's money go. So this is will be basically it's our purpose for this fundraising to the Jack Owen and the Bell Chang's family. And I thanks to everybody involved to this, and especially all the communities, Chinese communities like Papa and Stephen Pei and UCA and other organizations, all Chinese communities. Thank you all your works, and also thanks all donors who candidates donations make this fundraising reach the goal. Thank you so much. And quickly, we will, definitely we will have the $80,000 to the Zach Owen and Reagan. Please show the check both to everybody. And I think this is very important. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Zach Owen. We will send we'll transfer the money, because the check maybe is to take a long time to the U.S. post. So we will